stock again, and this video was definitely my most requested video by far. In part 1 I got a ton of comments asking when part 2 would be coming out, and I even got some comments saying that I don't know how to do math. Yeah, I know it's been longer than a year. I said I was going to let it dry for a year in the first video, and it's been over 2.5. But I'm back now. There's a couple reasons why it took me that long, and I'm going to go over those. So I'm not going to make you wait any longer. Let's get into it. So you might have noticed there's 2 pieces of wood here now, and this one is the original one from part 1, and you can see it's all cut up. The reason behind that is because a crack started to develop right around this area, and so I just started laying out the stock and decided if I could cut that crack out, then I might not have to worry about it. So that's what I did, and actually you can see when I originally cut this, that crack was, I cut it completely out and it started developing again. So that's no good, and then not to mention there's a huge crack starting right in the middle of there. I might have been able to salvage this piece if I just took the bottom half of it, but I was getting to the point where I was cutting it up too much, and I thought it would be better just to start from a fresh piece and make sure that it's square when I start. This is from the same log, but there is a big difference between this one and this one. So if you look down the end grain of this, that's where the difference comes in. This one has the center of the tree in it, and you can dry wood that has the entire center of the wood in it still, but it's a lot more difficult. With this one, I actually cut the center of the tree out of this log. It's a lot easier to dry something like this, and that's why I went to that. First thing I'm doing here is just planing down the width a little bit. I'm taking a few passes on both sides just to make sure both sides are flat and parallel with each other. Now I can trace the side profile of the stock onto my blank, and I'm actually using this shotgun because I like how it feels and I like how it draws up to my shoulder. So I first trace out the original stock, and then I take the shotgun and line up the barrel and the trigger, and I trace out the butt of the shotgun stock, and I can just kind of blend those lines together at the grip later on. But the important thing is the reference line with respect to the barrel. So here I take a rough cut to remove some of the material on top of the stock and create a semi-flat surface that I can work with. Now that material is removed, I'm using double-sided tape to fix a straight edge to the top surface, and that'll give me something flat to run along and reference to while I make some more cuts. The straight edge is actually going to run along the fence of the table saw, and I'm just going to take a really thin cut along the top, and that will square everything up and make a perfectly flat surface there. I can then use that surface along the fence to make another parallel line that squares up the bottom. Now right here you might notice I made a little bit of a mistake, and after I cut off this material I can explain what I did wrong. So my first mistake here, when I was making this cut to square this off, I was doing it on the table saw. It has a round blade which cuts farther on the bottom side than it does on the top side. I even thought about this before I made this cut, and in the heat of the moment I still messed up. I was paying attention too much to these lines I had laid out and watching where that blade was coming out, and I cut too far. I don't think this is going to be a big deal. I think I'll basically be able to just shift the whole layout that way, which will bring the grip down here, and I'll miss that cut on the back side. So not a big deal, but I will have to relay out all these lines. To get rid of my original layout lines, I'll just send it through the planer with that surface up, and then it comes out clean on the other side. Pretty much same as before. I can trace the side profile of the stock after sliding it back a little bit, but I also add the center line to the top surface here so that I can start laying out my barrel groove. Using a 3/8 inch drill bit in the drill press, I'm drilling 2 pilot holes right down the center line I just laid out, and these will be used to line up my first cut for the barrel groove. All the cuts I'm making for the barrel groove will be using the router table, and I'm starting with a 3/8 inch diameter straight bit. First I'll drop a pilot hole right over top the router bit,
Then I'll straighten the blank as much as possible. I'll move the router fence over and tighten it down a little bit and remove the blank so that I can check the router table markings and make sure that the fence is running perfectly straight. Now the router table's set up. I'll take multiple passes, increasing the depth as I go until I get to the bottom of the barrel groove. The next cut's for the ramrod a little bit deeper, and I can't have it run out the front, so I set up 2 stop blocks and stay in between those, and it cuts the length inside that I need. This last cut down the center line is pretty short and shallow for the barrel tang, and I'll show you how that fits together later. The next few cuts are off center line, so I'm going to lay out the octagon of the barrel shape, and I'll use that as a reference for where my next cuts need to go. So in order to get this right, I first set up the fence and take a couple practice passes. Once I feel comfortable and get the fence in the right location, I take a full pass, and I keep raising the bit as I go until I hit the corner of the octagon with the corner of the straight bit that I'm looking for, and then basically just repeat for the other side. Now that I got most of the material removed, I set myself up with a 90-degree V-bit, and this is taking out the 45-degree angles on the octagon. This took a lot of adjustment of the fence. It also took some adjustment of the router itself up and down until I got a perfect cut that I was looking for, and then I had to move the fence over and continue with the same process on the other side. While everything was still flat, I decided to drill out some of the holes that go through the side of the stock, and these first 2 that I tap in were actually a mistake. I shouldn't have drilled those yet. Those holes are for the screws that screw into the flintlock plate, and I should have waited till the flintlock plate was inlaid into the wood itself before I drilled those holes, and I'll show you later on in the next video how it created kind of some misalignments that I didn't really foresee coming. But the other few holes I did need to drill out, and I need to chisel those out because they're for the barrel wedge that seats the barrel into place, and this will allow me to start to pre-fit the barrel in place and move forward from there. After drilling the holes, they didn't make it all the way through, so I decided it was a good time to plane down the width a little closer to the actual width the stock was going to be, and that exposed the holes. There was one more hole for the barrel tank screw that I could drill, but I needed to install all the components for the barrel first and make sure they fit together snugly. After a pre-fit up, everything looked good and tight, and so I just marked the location of the barrel tank screw and simply drilled it out with the drill press. We covered the barrel in this video, and next video we'll start actually shaping the stock so that we can inlay the lock and the trigger. Thanks for watching this one, and make sure you keep an eye out for the next one.